And welcome back to the channel. So on today's tutorial I'll be showing you how I made this short kaftan bubu dress. So this is a fabric that I'm gonna be using. I have this African printed fabric, and I also have this other black fabric which is Dutch satin. So I'm gonna be using it for the patchwork design on this dress. So first thing first, I'm just gonna be taking my fabric. So this is my fabric here. I've just folded it into half like this, so I'll be putting all my measurements like this. So just make sure that you've folded your fabric. So first thing first, I'm just gonna start off by making a straight line. So this is my starting point. All the vertical measurements, I'll be marking them from this line. So once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna go down here by 2 inches, and then I will just go in here by about 3.5 inches. And then guys, note, I'm cutting the back piece first. After cutting the back, then I'll be cut out the front. So here it's me just joining the points together to make the neck opening on the back. So from there, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take my tape measure, and then I'm just gonna mark about 13 inches from the 3.5 inches mark I made. So this is for the sleeve. So after doing that, I'm just gonna go down here by about 1 inch. So once I'm done with that, I'm gonna be joining these 2 points together, the one I have on the neck to the 13-inch mark point I made, like this. So this is just gonna be slantly, it's not gonna be vertical. So once I'm going to do it, I'm just gonna come here to do the arm opening. So I'm just gonna go down in by 8 inches, and then from the 8 inches I'm just going to take my straight ruler and then extend the line down here like this. So that's it guys. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna come here on the starting line, and then I will just measure the full length of this dress. So when you mark the full length of the dress, also include the hemming allowance. So mine, I went about 30 inches, and then just make a straight line like this. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to take my round hip measurements, divide it by 4, and then after dividing it by 4, I'm just going to add about extra 3 inches. So mine, I added about 4 inches, so mine it's 13 inches, and then I'll just take the 13 inches up like this. So basically this one depends on how tight you want your dress to be, but this is the free dress. You can just add about 3 inches, or you just add 2 inches. So once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna be joining the lines together, and then I will come here on the armhole, and then I'll just join the points together. And from there, I'm just going to make a curve here like this, and this is where I'm going to cut when I cut out the back piece. And that's it for the back piece. So now I'm just gonna be cutting out. So as I'm cutting out, I'll just be following the lines of, and once I'm done with cutting out the back piece like I'm doing here, I'm going to take the back piece and use it to cut out on the other fabric. Well, I'll be cutting out the front piece. So I'm gonna put that aside, and then I will take another fabric piece which is here. As you can see, I'm folding it into half. So I'm just gonna align everything together. After aligning this, I'm gonna take the back piece and then place it right on top of this other fabric piece. So now I'm just gonna be placing the point here on the neck. So I'm just gonna make a mark here where I measured about 3.5 inches from the back neck. So once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna be measuring the neck opening. So this part depends on how deep you want yours to be. So mine, I just went down by 7 inches like this. So after doing the 7 inches, then from where I've marked the 7 inches, I'm just gonna go in by 1 inch and then make a mark. Once I'm done making a mark, then I'm just gonna join the 2 points together here like this. So once I'm done with that, since this is the front part, I'm just gonna be cutting out here like this, and then I'll just trace the rest that I have on the back piece. And that's it. So now I'll be moving on to sewing and joining the pieces together. So I'm just gonna open up the front piece. This is what you will have after cutting out the front piece, exactly like this. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna take the back piece and the front piece, and then I will just join the shoulder lines together. So this is what I have after joining the shoulder lines. So the next thing for me to do is I'm just gonna open up this top here like this. So I'm just gonna open up my dress like this, and then I'm gonna be working on the neckline. So for this neckline, I'm just gonna measure what I have here. So mine in total was about 24 inches, and then I added extra 4 inches. So for the perfect fit, I just want it to be to overlap a little bit. So here is what I have my fabric here. So for this fabric piece that I'm going to put on the neck, I'm just gonna cut about 28 inches, because remember when I measured it was 24 inches. So here I'm cutting 28 inches, so it needs to be longer. So this is what I have. Now let me just show you the measurements I took for this piece here. As I explained, the length is 28 inches. So when I open here, what I did was I just measured about 5 inches. And then I will take this fabric piece, and then I'm just gonna pin it here on the dress. So what I'm doing here, I'm doing it on the outer side of the fabric. So this is just right side facing each other. So I'm just gonna pin everything down and then make a stitch. And while making a stitch, I'm just gonna be using 1/2 inch for the sewing allowance. And this is what I have. So the next thing for me to do to just secure the neck, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna, you see I've just made a stitch there, so I'm just gonna make a top stitch right. So I'm just gonna be turning this over like this so it can just face me, and then I'll just find the midpoint I have here. So I'll just take my tape measure like this and then just find the midpoint. So mine is about 1 inch. Yes. And for this part, this is what I have. I'm going to show you the measurements that I have on this rectangle. So here it just depends on the shape that you want. So I just joined some fabric so I can get the measurements. But then for the rectangle, I measured 10 by 14 inches. And then once I was done with that, I just folded in 0.5 and then just iron so I can get a straight line with closed edges. So from there, we'll just find a middle point here on this side and then make a mark. And then here on the bottom here, I'll just go in by about 4 inches. Like I said, it depends on the shape that you want. So this is it. I'm just gonna fold in here like this. So this is the shape that I want. And then I'll just iron before I attach it to the dress. And for me to attach the piece on the dress, what I'm gonna do is, you see the midpoint that I have right there, I'm just gonna fold in this like this for me to find the midpoint and then make a mark. And then I'm just gonna place it right here as you see. And then from there I will just make a stitch to secure everything together. But while I'm doing that, I'm also going to start off by pinning everything down. So I'm just gonna be securing this piece before I make a stitch. And then once I'm done with that, I'm just gonna make a stitch all around the shape. And this is what I have. You see how clean it looks. It looks so nice. So the next thing to do here is just work on the sleeves. So I'm just gonna take the measurements that I have here on the sleeve. So mine is about 16 inches. So I'm just gonna take this fabric piece here, which I measured about 20 inches long and then made it 4 inches wide. So this is what I have. So I'm just gonna be placing this on the sides here on the sleeves using the 1/2 inch for the sewing allowance. And that's it. This is what I have on both arms. So the next thing for me to do is to just join the sides together, and then after joining the sides together, I will also hem the bottom of this dress. And that's it. I'm done with the kaftan bubu dress. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe and share. I will see you on the next tutorial.